This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, episode 355, baby. Oh yeah. In today's episode I speak to Corporal Coma. Yes, he is back on the podcast. Hasn't been on for a long time. If you have no idea who he is, you've only just started listening, then you need to listen carefully, because Corporal Coma is renowned for being quite difficult to understand. Okay, so this is where the transcript does come in handy, and R&R family members, remember you have that. Just click on the link inside the podcast just in case you need it, okay? And we talk about summertime, well, not summer, just good weather, which is what we are experiencing in the UK at the moment. So that's about it. I will talk to you at the end. Happy listening. Corporal Coma, how are you today?
Absolutely fantastic, Martin. Glad to be here. And how are you?
You normally don't ask me, do you? But I can see you're really up for it today, Coma.
I really am. I've got the day off work. Not for this, but, you know, the weather's gorgeous, 30 degrees here, sitting in near the garden.
Yeah. Day off work for a podcast, that would have been something, wouldn't it? If you booked a whole day off work to record a podcast for Rock and Roll English, that would really have been something.
Yeah, no, that would be too much dedication to this podcast.
But yeah, you have actually touched upon something which we are going to talk about. But I won't ruin the surprise. What an amazing surprise it will be, I'm sure. But before we start, how do we usually start the show?
We start with a review.
Do you think we have one?
Yes.
Unfortunately not. Not as far as I know. This is what I mentioned on the last pod, because we often do have them, and then people send me a message saying, I left a review 2 years ago and you've not read it out. So remember, please tell me about the reviews if you've done it. So on to today's pod, Corporal Coma. Now, as you mentioned, the weather in England is glorious at the moment, isn't it? Like, that is a word we like to use for weather, isn't it? Glorious.
It is. It's balmy.
Yeah. Balmy is not a word that you'll hear so much to describe it, but crazy. Yes. Crazily good. So I thought we could talk not about weather, but about just how good weather makes you, what it can do to you. Okay. So I've got lots of things here that we're going to discuss. So number one, I think there's no doubt about this, but let's see. It boosts your mood. Do you feel in a better mood now that it's sunny?
Literally a totally different person. This week compared to when it's miserable, it's just totally different.
I can even see from your vibe from being on the podcast. Normally you're a miserable bastard on the podcast, but
life is good. The sun's shining.
But this time, yeah, no, I am the same. It makes a massive difference. I mean, I have spent most of my time since I come back to England thinking, oh, why am I here? I was coming back from work yesterday thinking, God, this is the best place in the world.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it makes a big difference.
But just that's all I need, one sunny day. And then I think next week I saw the temperature is going back to 12 degrees. So then I'll be back to being a miserable bastard. I think that's why I was so miserable for most of my life, because
you're in England.
Yeah, but then that's probably also why I was such a laugh when I was living in Sicily. Such a great person. That's also where I met my wife. I think there's no coincidence. None of the women wanted to talk to me in England because I was a miserable bastard.
No, there was a noticeable change in your attitude when you moved to Italy for the better.
Exactly. So there we go. Boost your mood. Okay. So next one. Now, we'll talk more about this because I think there's a few things to discuss here with you, Corporal Coma. But the next one, I got all these from ChatGPT, by the way, like usual, which is the new standard procedure at Rock and Roll English. And it says, makes you overconfident. So obviously good weather makes you overconfident in your ability to drink in a beer garden. Now, we're gonna have to draw on past experience, because you are now teetotal, aren't you, Corporal Coma?
Very much so. I live an alcohol-free lifestyle.
So we recently went to the Hellraisers, actually, 40th birthday, and we went to that, and I was thinking, I'm not going to drink as well, because you're not drinking, and I thought, well, Corporal Coma's not drinking, so I'm not going to drink as well. And as soon as I get there, everyone says, oh, do you want a beer? it's just too much peer pressure for me, Corporal Coma. I can't say no. I don't want to drink, but I just find myself doing it to talk to the cool kids.
But you didn't have much to drink. You were pretty sensible.
Yeah, I not much, but still enough for me these days. I think I had about 4 beers and bottles as well, not pints, and that was definitely enough for me. But we chose the right time to go home, because we went home together, didn't we? And I do think this is a skill, knowing when to say that's enough, it's time to go. A skill that I don't think you had when you were in your drinking days.
I had no skills at anything in my drinking days, so it's the main reason why I no longer drink.
Yeah, you, I suppose, and the Hellraiser were the worst people at knowing when to say enough's enough. Whilst I think that's a skill I've had for quite a while, actually. Yeah. To say, I've had my fun, now it's time to go. It's like when you have a conversation with someone, okay? Like you see someone you haven't seen in a while, and you're talking to them, it's knowing when to say, right, I've got to go. Because when that conversation drags on...
Oh, yeah, awful.
Can be a nightmare. But anyway, so overconfident in your ability to drink in a beer garden. Has that happened to you, Corporal Coma?
Yeah, that kind of describes my probably 20s and 30s, really. But yeah, like I say, now it's certainly less of an issue.
But yeah, there is nothing, well, certainly there was nothing better than a sunny day. And the first thing, well, certainly I remember you would always say to me, let's go to this pub. It's got a beer garden.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. English people do bloody love a beer garden, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to... I mean, although generally they are a bit crap. Like, it could be a pub in the middle of a town or a city that's just concrete, and essentially you're surrounded by idiots, and there's just a ton of wasps. It's not really that enjoyable.
Yeah. If there's one thing Corporal Coma hates, it's a wasp, isn't it?
Oh.
I noticed as soon as we started recording this podcast, it looked like, was it a wasp or a fly that entered your house?
Inundated with bees at the moment, so quite a lot of bees. The garden's a bit overgrown, and there's just a million bees in the kitchen all the time. It's like living in a beehive next to the fridge.
We actually have a similar problem, but luckily I'm not that scared of bees. I'm scared of dogs, but to give me a bee, I'm okay with. Not brilliant, but okay with. But yeah, so there we go about beer gardens. I was thinking about this as well. I'd never sort of questioned this. It's called a beer garden. It wouldn't be called like a wine garden, would it? Had to be beer, because that's what we do here, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It wouldn't. Wine garden wouldn't make any sense. Sounds too European.
Too sophisticated. But you did make a good point about what this beer garden actually involves. You often see a sign in a pub saying beer garden, then you go back and you go to the back and it's basically an old car park with some tables. Yeah,
old tables. You just, at no other point would you ever sit in essentially a concrete car park if it wasn't because you had a pint of beer there.
Yeah, but that is how much we love it here in England. So, okay, next one. This is an interesting one for you, Corporal Coma, anyway. Makes you feel sporty and an outdoors person. So, there's 2 things there. So, outdoors, have you spent much time outdoors recently with the sunny weather?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously working all day, Monday to Friday, so not really. But yeah, when it's the weekend, it's nice with the kids, get in the garden. Like, obviously, my daughter's 2, she loves it if she can be outside. So, yeah, as soon as the weather's nice, we're all outside, yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed that now. I have a garden as well. Sort of like, for example, Saturday, it was a nice day. You think, right, I'm going to do something today. And then the kids are happy in the garden. And you just think,
why would I bother? Yeah. I've given her a bag of sand and she's just entertained herself for an hour. It means that I'm not her own in-house clown entertaining her.
Yeah, exactly. So why bother doing anything else? Okay, what about sporty? Been doing many sports, Coma?
No, I have not. I mean, it's been a long time since I've done any sports.
Yeah, I mean, what sports have you actually played in your life?
I think in around 2015, I played a few games of squash. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But no, I
forgot about that.
I was going to the gym, but that's died a death.
Is that a sport? Going to the gym?
It's exercise.
counts. Because when I was thinking about this podcast, it actually came to me before, actually. A few days ago, I don't know why, just out of nowhere, I just had this memory of you when we were kids. And I don't know why I've not mentioned this enough, really, to you, but you used to do karate, didn't you?
Because I was rubbish at football, yeah, I did karate.
I kind of feel that I haven't really taken the piss out of you enough for doing karate, considering we used to take the piss out of the Hellraiser for playing the saxophone. I feel that you kind of got away lightly with doing karate.
I feel like at the time it wasn't that embarrassing. If you did it now, obviously it would be ridiculous. But at the time, it was a legitimate way to spend your weekend. But obviously, I mean, it's a bit embarrassing, yeah.
Yeah, and how long did you do this for? I remember you maybe winning some kind of competition. You came in with like a trophy.
Yeah, I mean that was probably a pity trophy, but I can't remember.
The one for taking part.
Yeah,
trophy for taking
exactly.
Part.
Having the best uniform on, not actually being any good at karate. I think I probably did it from the age of about 6 to about 11, maybe, quite a while.
Oh right, okay, yeah. I don't remember it going. Yeah, I think you just got to the bit. You kind of stopped again. What we spoke about earlier, the skill of knowing when to say that's enough, when to call it a day, and because I think when you start getting to those teenage years, I think that would have been, you wouldn't have survived that, would you?
Well, someone might have actually challenged me and said, "Oh, you're good at karate. Let's have a fight," and then I would have got beaten up pretty badly. So.
Yeah, I was thinking as well, how do you actually get into karate? You know, football, you play at school, you get into it. How do you get into karate? That you realise you love karate?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I say, I was probably 6. My mum just said, "Do you want to go to karate?" And I said, "Yeah." And then, the rest is history.
Or probably around that time, actually, a big film was The Karate Kid.
Well, to be fair, that was probably another thing. Yeah, it probably, like I say, it was actually quite cool at one point.
I think you're pushing the boundaries a bit.
There was a whole film about it. There's a whole film. I mean, and I was great at it. So,
well, I never saw you in your karate uniform actually, but yeah, the idea of that. What belt did you get to, by the way?
The best one's black belt, obviously, and then the one before that's brown belt. And I feel like you had to be 14 before you could go for your brown belt. And obviously, sure. I was like 11, and I was on the one before that, and I was just like, "Oh,
yeah, sure." So you had the maximum belt for your age, is what
exactly.
You're saying,
and
yeah?
I couldn't wait any longer. I was like, "I'm just going to get into something else." So,
yeah. And what else did you get into then after that?
Probably just women, drinking, smoking, organised crime,
just being a lad, basically,
yeah.
At 11. Okay, so I think we've definitely covered karate. So the next one is hot weather. I'm reading this directly out from ChatGPT. Reveals who owns sunglasses and who squints like a granddad. So squint, like when you can't really see and you've got your eyes kind of closed. Now, Corporal Coma, you bloody love a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses, don't you?
I think I've got one pair of Ray-Bans at the moment. I do enjoy wearing sunglasses.
How many pairs of sunglasses do you own?
I don't know, not many. 3. But I've got some prescription ones. I've got more than that, but I've probably got 3 that I actually wear.
I mean, there is nothing more rock and roll than prescription sunglasses, is there?
It's nice to be able to see and,
Right. So the other ones you can't actually see.
Well, I can if I've got contact lenses on underneath. I can. I've got a system. If I'm wearing contact lenses, I wear one pair. If I've not got contact lenses in, I wear the prescription ones. If you're on holiday and it's the daytime and you're going to be swimming, you're not going to be wearing contact lenses.
I see. Now I've got perfect eyes. Corporal Coma 2020 is what it's described as. I went probably about 3 years ago. He said your eyes are better than perfect. So I don't really know about these things, but I do know that you bloody love sunglasses, whilst I, on the other hand, at the moment I don't own any, because when I do get them, I normally lose them within 2 weeks maximum.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at not losing them. Well, certainly now that I don't drink, I'm definitely good at not losing them.
Yeah, well, you when you were drinking, you were good at losing things, weren't you?
Yeah, my dignity.
Yeah, I even remember you even going on a night out and then losing your shoes. You're losing your flip-flops.
Easy to happen, that. It's a common mistake people make.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever woken up and not known where my shoes are.
Well, that was the same night I woke up in the wrong hotel room on my own, and I didn't have my phone or my wallet or my shoes or my watch.
Well,
so I can only deduce from that was actually robbed rather than just losing stuff.
But I love how you have absolutely zero memory of any of that.
No, none at all. Literally none at all.
Perfect. So there we go. That's why I stopped drinking. Okay, so next one. Encourages ice cream purchases as at truly inappropriate times, or just ice cream consumption. How much has your ice cream consumption gone up, Corporal Coma?
See, my ice cream consumption's actually pretty bad anyway. I'd say probably 3 or 4 times a week. Even in the winter, I have ice cream after dinner.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Big fan. Big fan.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got some different sauces and stuff that I put on the top, crunch up a chocolate bar over it, make it... It's a whole event.
See, yeah, even the winter thing, I think that is a common sort of British thing, because I remember, certainly my parents-in-law coming to England, and there were ice creams, we were having dinner, and there were ice creams around, and they were like, what the hell are you doing? It's December.
I mean, food still tastes nice in December, but, you know, I do get it, but, I mean, also it's just delicious.
Yeah. Well, my ice cream consumption has kind of gone up, obviously, since having kids. And when you see an ice cream van now, my kids cannot resist. So I literally yesterday went to an ice cream van, £4.50 for a cone.
I know, it's nice.
A 99. So I got, obviously, you have to get 2, so that's £9. I wanted one as well, but I thought I'm not spending £13.50 on 3 ice creams. And I was hoping they would leave it, but they fucking ate until the very last drop. It's fucking absolute dumbheaded. And the other thing, when they're eating it, obviously, so you've got a cone. There's a specific skill to eating ice cream in a cone, which
2-year-olds don't have. Yeah,
2-year-olds are not very good at. And honestly, so I gave it to the youngest one, and he was within a whisker of letting that fall to the ground within 5 seconds. And I thought, if that ice cream falls to the ground, I've just spent £4.50 on that.
You're eating it anyway.
Yeah, I'm just going to shove it in your mouth.
Yeah, see, I always get it from my daughter in the little cup, so she can't. She doesn't care. She's not bothered about the cone, so she'll.
Well, I thought that, but the older one wanted a cone, so obviously the younger one did. But I was going to go for the cup. What do we call it? It's a cup. No, yeah, cup.
They do say it's something else.
Tub.
Yeah, they say tub.
There we go. Fucking hell. So I was going to get the tub, but that was £5 for a tub of ice cream.
I mean, that makes no sense. It should be the other way around. The cone actually is.
That's what I thought.
Edible food.
Yeah. So I thought I'm not spending another 50p, so you can have the cone. But there we go. Okay, what about this one? Corporal Coma makes you wear clothes that you probably shouldn't. So apparently summer is when fashion disasters happen. Now, you have had many fashion disaster over the years. I mean, admittedly, style-wise, a lot has improved in recent times, Corporal Coma. A lot. In fact, you've left me for dead in the fashion game. But let's talk about how it used to be. Some of your fashion errors. Did they mainly happen in summer?
No, I could make myself look ridiculous any time of the year.
All seasons.
All seasons. I had a shit outfit for any season. So no, yeah. I mean, I've worn some shocking stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the sort of us being the most famous ones when we talk about your fashion disasters do actually happen to be summer outfits. One
3/4 length trousers. Yeah, knew that was coming.
I mean, what is anyone thinking when a man wearing 3/4 length trousers? So if people don't know, they're not shorts, they're not trousers, they're somewhere in between, just coming to like the middle of your shin.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, they were a thing. Maybe they were, I don't know. I can't even explain it.
Like karate was really cool, hey? Okay, so we are going to leave it there, talking about 3/4 length trousers. And I didn't want to admit it on the podcast, but I also had a pair of 3/4 length trousers when we were young. But yeah, hopefully Corporal Coma's not listening to this part. So anyway, on to the vocabulary, because yes, the rest of the conversation will continue in the members area. So on to the vocabulary. We mentioned how the weather is glorious. That is a great way to describe the weather, how British people love to describe weather. We say it is glorious if it's obviously nice. Corporal Coma said it's balmy, meaning it's crazy. It's crazily good. Balmy, meaning crazy. And I mentioned to Corporal Coma how just a bit of sunshine makes me think England is the best place in the world. And Corporal Coma said, I wouldn't go that far. And that piece of vocabulary is in my vocabulary course, which, remember, you can check out totally for free by doing the 2-week Vocabulary for Lazy People challenge, where you don't need to study. You learn vocabulary naturally. Check the link in the description to the podcast you're listening to just to check that out. Corporal Coma said he noticed a change for the better when I moved to Italy and then experienced nice weather. We mentioned how conversations drag on. They go a bit longer than necessary. You need to know when to stop. And Corporal Coma mentioned that he is inundated with bees at the moment. Again, that is another piece of vocabulary from, I believe, the 14-day free challenge, meaning he has got so many bees at the moment he doesn't know what to do with them. So remember, again, check out that vocabulary challenge, because you learn everyday words like this. He also mentioned that it's like living in a beehive. Now, I recently learned this word in Italian, the word beehive, so I thought maybe you don't know it in English. The place where bees live, it's a beehive. And we also mentioned, well, I asked Corporal Coma, what sports have you played in your life? Because notice in England we play sports. I know lots of people say to practice sports, but that sounds very strange in English. Corporal Coma said that he used to go to the gym, but that's died a death, meaning he doesn't do it anymore. And I said he got away lightly with doing karate. So got away lightly, didn't really suffer as much as I think he should have done for doing karate. And we mentioned a couple of times the skill of knowing when to call it a day, meaning knowing when to stop. To call it a day, to say that's enough. We do use that at night as well, to say I'm going to call it a night, when obviously you go home at night. And Corporal Coma said that he stopped karate, otherwise he would have got beaten up. So when someone beats you up, they physically destroy you, let's say. And again, that piece of vocabulary is from my vocabulary course. So again, check out the free 14-day Vocabulary for Lazy People challenge. I guarantee you will learn something. Click the link inside the podcast you're listening to right now. Anyway, that's enough from me today. I will talk to you very soon, but in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.